anybody think about since last week, what we talked about when we talked about things that that stop us from really moving forward in our business? Since I'm hearing kickback, I'm gonna mute everyone, but when you share something, just unmute yourselves. So if we think about what's holding us back, and we had 7 things, so let me share with y'all those 7 things. And I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but if anybody wants to share, who thought about those 7 things? Let me walk through them again. Either needing to expand your network, need to get to work, need to know what to say, need more confidence, need to know where to start, need to use the tools, and need to commit. Today we're going to kind of hone in on 1 and 2. Need to expand my network, need to get to work. Anybody want to confess? We're going to have a confession today. Anyone want to confess that maybe one or 2 was one of your hangups? Anybody? And if so, what's your game plan to remedy that? What's holding you back? Karen, I see you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I don't know if it's expand or get to work, but I am starting to consider events again because I had such bad luck with them before that I just didn't feel like doing them. And so now I'm doing a Tower Garden event with Brenda this month at the house. And then I had one set up for today, a one-on-one, which I always do those, but the group events are my Achilles heel, I guess. And so anyway, I've got one scheduled and we'll see how that goes. And I'm working with partners to get them to do events too.
Okay. And, thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable and just sharing that. And, I think back when I first got started, we didn't even do, events. And I remember, kind of to your point, Karen, I was pretty far along. I don't remember where, but pretty far along in the business before I ever did an event. And it took a new partner saying, Elaine, will you come do an event for me? And I didn't have the heart to tell her I'd never done one before. And my upline never did one for me. So, but you know what? She really did build her business with events and went all the way to QNMD with those events. So kudos to you, Karen, for saying, you know what, I'm pushing through. And you brought up a point that we don't even have on here, is sometimes when we don't have success in a particular area, how we can kind of say, okay, then that's not for me. And in reality, it's overcoming that initial hump or that initial challenge. So kudos to you, for Karen, for saying, I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm going to go after this again. So that's good. Anybody else in those first 2, I need to expand my network or I need to get to work? Because that's what we're going to talk about today. Anybody else fall into that category? Susan?
Yeah, it's the second one. I think I have a big network. But I will tell you, Elaine, Thursday we talked to a friend, Beth, and she signed up to be a partner. And I called her and talked to her for an hour yesterday as she was driving to New Orleans for the week to work, and kind of just said, let's just focus on that first goal, Partner Plus. And, we need to do it this month because we can move your own orders underneath you. And I keep thinking, if I can get a partner who is actually, besides my wonderful sister who's really working, but another partner that could actually work, that would make me feel like I got to be working. So I think when it's just me, I just fit it in when I can. But I know if I had somebody calling me and I'm got somebody who's really wanting to go, I think that could really push me.
That's a really good point. If you want to get to NMD, get some people under you who want to get to NMD. And it really, like you said, Susan, it kicks you in gear. Good point. Very good point. Trina, were you going to say something?
Yeah, it was weird because I met a girl 9 years ago at a hospital that took care of Alan's knee. And I've been watching her on Facebook, and she started telling me how sick she's been. So I made a comment, remember what I told you 9 years ago? You need to get a hold of me. So now she and I have been corresponding. I sent her out shakes and gummies and info. Another girl was asking about her hair. So I'm sending a packet out today to her. I've been sending videos. And then two of my people are seeing doctors right now and they're taking them information. So, and then one, we're gonna do parties, shake party at her house. She has a big friend group. So, and then we got Marka and Diane. We got Marka to sign on as a partner and they're coming to conference.
Wow.
So we'll see, hopefully in the next 30 days. and
So
get
it sounds to me like number 2, you've checked that one off.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
think-
you're
I'm
working
trying.
hard.
I'm trying.
But you know what? One of the things you just said, Trina, is which I think when we go over these points on how to expand your network, you hit on, well, one of them that's not on there, but I think it should be on there now that I heard you say, is thinking back through those people in our past that we've had conversations with that maybe at that time, the timing just wasn't right for them. And
Right.
so keeping every shred of anytime we talk to someone, having a way to capture it and then circling back around, because that is how we expand. Our networks are bigger than what most of the time we think they truly are. And and I even see that when I start going back through my notebooks and then ever since I've been using I'm gonna mute everyone again. I don't know what's causing the kickback, but if you need to say something, just unmute. But anyway, what I was gonna say is when I really start looking, I have connected with a lot of people. And if I never walked out of this house, I bet I could keep busy for the next 10 years on the people I've connected in the past. And so make sure you're pulling out all those names from your phone, from notebooks, wherever you've kept them in the past, and let's reconnect with them and let's get that network robust. Okay, so that's 1 and 2 is what we're going to talk about today. And I did a little research and looking at how do you build a network? And some of these came from some things I read. Some of them were some ideas that popped into my head. We're going to come back to the 5 by 5 and what that means. So, but we're going to first jump into this whole area of building our network. And I had a conversation in February with a guy who his wife had just ordered. He works with my husband and we'd just gotten to know he and his wife. She placed an order and she didn't go to, we have Chick-fil-A has a conference and he was there and we went to dinner with him, Scott and I got talking to him and I was like, Rob, you just connect with a lot of people. As I heard him talk throughout the night at dinner, I said, how you've got a huge network. Like he literally knew the person at like really high up in Disney where we were. And he said, you know, a long time ago, I learned this thing called web working versus networking. And I'm like, interesting. I've never heard of web working versus networking. Tell me about that. And he said, you know, what I learned is I really built my network by web working, meaning if he knows somebody and then he knows somebody else and he thinks there's a reason why the two of them should meet, he will introduce them. And I know he does this because my husband was like, that's weird. I just got this message from Rob trying to connect me with, I don't even know who it was. And then when Scott and the guy who he was trying to connect met, it was like really good. It was beneficial for both of them. And he said, I just learned that when I'm staying out of it, but I'm trying to network people that I think they have a reason to meet and to connect. I just work on doing that every week in and week out. And he said, consequently, I've been doing this all these years and it's really grown my own personal network. And I just thought that to me, and as I talked to him and realized how many people he knew, I thought that's something I want to get good at, is really trying to be a connector of people. And so, and consequently, people don't forget when you make that connection. One, because I think it comes across as you being authentically caring about somebody. And in that process, your network is growing by default. So number one is let's focus on being web working. And you know who's not on the call today, but who I see as doing that is Mara does that a lot. I've noticed. And so, and I know she's got a big she does a wellness group and she has like over 600 people on that wellness group. And so if we want to build our network, let's think about how can we web work with other people. Number two, and we've talked about this till we're blue in the face, and that is learning to ask questions. And last Thursday night, we were going to dinner with a couple, and as I sat there, we were waiting, and this lady was at the bar, and I think she was waiting to get takeout. She had, and I could tell, this beautiful, it was like a vintage Louis Vuitton briefcase. I'd never seen anything like it before. And so everyone I was with, they were all kind of talking about something else. And I just, for some reason, was focused on this lady. And I went up to her and sat down beside her at the bar. And I said, I can't help but come over and comment on your bag. And immediately she lit up. I said, where'd you get your bag? And she went into this long story. And as she went into that story, we connected on another level, We found out that we knew a lot of the same people, and literally walked away with a strong connection and a phone number to connect and talk more. So asking questions, do we have that top of mind? Like, that was a sincere question. I loved her bag, but are we taking advantage of those opportunities to meet new people simply by asking questions? So I don't always do that, but it was such a reminder to me how easy it is to build a network by simply asking questions. All right, number three, be friendly. You know, I think about the people who are friendly. They know a lot of people and they connect with a lot of people. And so do we want to be, that's an easy way to build our network, is simply by saying hello and being friendly. I think of my mom. My mom has always been like that. Like, she never shied away from meeting anybody. And consequently, I mean, I get people Facebook me all the time from where my mom used to live in Ohio saying, how's your mom? I was thinking about her. And I just think about, it's just that simply being friendly when we're out and about. Number four, and I'm give kudos to Trina because I know she does this, is, and also, and I'm not seeing Sandy's picture on here now, but I know Sandy does it as well. And that is, I know Sandy does it through her gym. And I know, Trina, you purposely every day have somewhere that you're going to get out and connect with people. And that, that is like why your network is big and continuing to get bigger.
I like to go shopping.
There you go. There you go. I have actually Mara and Debbie's line is because I met their upline in what is that store? Oh gosh, Chico's.
Yeah.
So I have a whole line
Mhm.
that came from Chico's, literally. And I hate to shop. But it pays off. It pays off.
And that's where I met Trina.
That's right.
At Chico's.
She
Yeah.
was working at Chico's. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That
where
is so funny.
Yeah.
So whether it's a shopping day, a coffee day, working at a coffee shop. It doesn't matter what your day out looks like. And I'm kind of guilty of not doing this. I'm like, I'm too busy, but I really want personally to start doing that because it really does benefit. It gets you out talking to people. The fifth thing that I found online, it says create wide and eclectic connections. Wide and eclectic connections. I think sometimes we get really honed in on the people we know or the people who fall into our category or into our box. But when we go far and wide and get a more collective connection, we're going to really expand that network that we currently have. And so think about, how can I go wider versus I like to go deep with people, but how do we go wider and literally get into those communities of people who maybe we don't typically associate with, or our paths don't cross, because that's just going to build wider for us. And if you think, if we're trying to build a big building, the foundation goes wider. If we have a small little foundation, the building can't grow that, they can't go that high because it's going to wobble. So the wider our foundation, the bigger the building's going to be able to be. So think about that. How can I, and maybe let's back this around in a minute, but how can I go wider and get a more eclectic audience? Number 6, get way out of your comfort zone. Going out there and connecting, maybe when you're feeling a little, and I'm thinking of someone right now who's in the medical field that I need to connect with. And I got to be honest, I've been a big chicken. I have to get outside my comfort zone when it comes to, landing those big fishes. I could, and I'm going to change. I'm seeing about 5 of you. So let me see who else is on here. But what do you need to do? And I want you to think right now, what do you need to do to get uncomfortable today? What if we all said, we're going to do one thing a day that makes us feel uncomfortable? So write that down. I'm going to make that across my notebook here this morning. Write down one uncomfortable activity a day. And that's going to stretch us. Number 7, be passionate about what you do. People can't help but be attracted to people who are passionate. I mean, that gets you excited. When you're talking to someone who absolutely loves what you do, do people know what you're passionate about? I've heard people say, well, I don't want people thinking, oh no, here comes the Juice Plus lady. I do. I want people, because they're going to know when the timing's right, they're going to know exactly who to come to when they're ready to get healthy. Don't be afraid to go deep. This kind of ties back into asking questions. But when we go deep with people, our connections are deeper, and we're going to know them better, and they're going to share with us. So think about, don't be afraid to go deep and ask those questions that will cause that conversation to go deeper. You're going to stay connected to them much better. Number 9, be authentic. I remember Wendy Campbell talking about, someone was saying, it was many years ago, and we were making these packets that were being handed out to people, and they were beautiful. And I was guilty of them too, making sure this packet of information just looked phenomenal. This was before we could just simply share a link. But in that time frame, someone asked Wendy Campbell, who's been so successful in the Juice Plus company and in all network marketing companies, they were asking her, what do your packets look like? And she literally pulled up this purse, and it was so disheveled with all kinds of stuff in it. And she said, what I do is I have a CD in here, and I go digging around and I find the CD and hand it to him. And I do it for a reason. Is because I want everyone to know you too can do this business. You don't have to be this organized, perfect, everything just right. anyone can share this gift. But she said, what I did do is when I handed them that CD, I did it like it was the most prized gift I could give them. And that's what we have at our fingertips. So let's be authentic, our authentic selves, and let's really connect with people because we are being authentic. The last thing, which kind of goes, I wasn't planning on sharing that about Wendy Campbell, but so this kind of sounds a little bit contradictory, but to stay organized. And when I say stay organized, that's going to be on the back end. And that's tracking every single person you've come in contact with. If you do nothing more than jot it down in a notebook, stay organized with your connections so that you never lose a connection, and you will always have people that you can immediately connect with. And you're not running out of, oh, who am I going to talk to? If you've got them in a notebook, you've got them in a spreadsheet. And here's what I'm going to challenge us all. So I want you to think about, and we're going to come back and we're going to kind of process these 10 ways to build our network. But when it comes to that getting busy, let's make it simple as can be. So whether you track it, I know Shelley Black tracks it in Excel. I know Karen does it with a notebook system. I've been really, and I thought I'd show my, I've really been loving Trello. Let me get over here. And I like it because it's quickly accessible. That's my wrong one. Hold on, choose plus. And so here's what I want us all to do. Go to your method of madness. However whatever your system is, doesn't matter if it's Teamsy, Trello, Notebook, on your phone, Excel spreadsheet. I want everyone to go to where you're tracking. And I want us to think 5 by 5, right? Somewhere, put it on sticky on your computer. I want 5 by 5. 5 days a week, connecting with 5 people a day, 25 people a week. Imagine the impact it would have on your business if we rolled up our sleeves and got to work. Let's go back a couple weeks ago when Stacy shared with us, she made 10 connections a day. So I'm not pushing you to Stacy's level. I'm just saying, let's commit to 5. We all can commit to 5. If you think about it, we'll give 15 minutes per person. So we're talking about an hour and 15 minutes a day. We all can invest. If you're trying to go to your next level, you probably need to be doing more than that, more than an hour and 15 minutes a day. But I could venture to say anybody on this call could give it an hour and 15 minutes a day. If we broke it up in 15-minute intervals, we can do, if we had a 30-minute lunch hour, there's 2. A drive to work and a drive home, there's 2 more. We're up to 4. In a 15-minute conversation when we're cooking dinner. 5 connections, 5 by 5, 5 a day, 5 days a week, Monday, and you could get in 30 if you included Saturday. So what I want us to do right now, and I'm going to walk through and tell you where these people come from. I only have 12 of my 25, so I'm going to work on my other 12 in the next minute while we do this. But Sharon is one of my mom's nurses. She got on the berry blend. She's loving it. So she wants to do the duo, and her husband wants to do the quad. So I need to follow up with her and get those orders. Gail is a new customer of mine who was referred from another customer, and she showed up on our team call that both Karen and Brenda spoke at. She has autoimmune diseases, and it had such an impact on her. So she got a trio, and we're going to add the omegas here in the coming weeks. We just wanted to get her started on the trio. Jasmine is another nurse where my mom lives, and she's ready to buy a quad, and we want to sign her up as a partner. Philip was a one-time referral to me from the company. He ordered once, and now I got to get back in touch with him and try to get him on a continuing level. Kyle and Lainey. Kyle is my HVAC guy. I've already talked to him about it. I just got to nail them down and get as Carrie Vivi always says, I got to nail the sale. So they're ready. I just got to do that. Jan Long is like high school, one of my high school friends' friend who I connected with her, and we talked about her becoming a partner. Tammy Pattison, her kids went to school with mine. I've briefly talked to her about becoming a partner. So I want to line up a coffee with her. Tina Swan is one of my renters. I've talked to her about Juice Plus, and she wants to do the trio again. So many of these is me just rolling up my sleeves and catching these people at the right time to place the order. Dana Walter is somebody who I've connected with online. She posted about her cancer story, and for whatever reason, I just felt compelled to reach out to her. And that conversation kind of went cold, but I saw her post again, and I just thought, she's got to get on Juice Plus. Alex and Lisa are relatives of mine who I've talked to about Juice Plus. I just got to basically connect with them and again, place an order for them. Amanda Redding was someone from my church who we did a small group together 10 years ago. And we reconnected. And so now is an opportunity for me to reach back out. And then Asha Terry is someone I met on an airplane. Tisha and I did going to Uganda. And I saw a post of hers today. And I thought, what happened with that? She was interested. It's surprising if you go back like I have and started digging through my names, how many of those people, I'm ashamed to say, I let the connection go cold. Anybody else do that? And I just thought, why not go back and reopen that conversation and remake that connection? So that's 12 of my 25. And so let's, you know what, before we do this, you know what? No, let's go back. I'm trying to think which way. I think let's go. I just wanted to share with you where those 12, I'm going to come up with another 13 more, and we're going to take some time to work together. But let me go back to what we were sharing about and ask you guys, as you heard, as I went through each of those areas, what of these areas, when it comes to building your network, which of these 10 spoke to you that you want to really hone in on? I can't see everyone, so just unmute yourself and let's hear it. Any ideas that popped in your mind when sharing those 10 points? Did y'all get bored with it?
Elaine, no, they're really powerful. And I think as you were going through it all, the one thing too, I think we could add is having Juice Plus as top of mind. Because when you do ask questions or when you are meeting them, and I think like 5 and 6 to me are both ends of the same thing. When you're out of your comfort zone, you're in a wider connections than the people you talk with all the time. But I think it's that, I mean, there's almost always some way you can connect Juice Plus to it, whether from if not from a health, which most people anymore is from health, but from financial. And I think just asking the question, how you doing? Because people don't, most people don't do that, and actually, or they may say it and then they're like, oh, wait a minute, you actually want to know? Because instead of just, I'm great, when I'm not, or I'm busy or whatever. But I think they're all so powerful. And I love the way that you shared, just all those different things. I'm thinking, yeah, I know there's so many I need to go back to too, and even people that have gotten off of Juice Plus for whatever reason, we're in a different place than we were, 2 years ago, or even, before all this happened. That there are a lot of people who are suffering. So thank you so much for sharing all this. But I think that's one thing. And I know with the people that I know that are really building their business, having it. I mean, I know for to being top of mind. I mean, I can figure out a way to get to Juice Plus no matter what we're talking about. I just need to get out and get with more people. So.
You know, when there was something you said made me think of Susan Fulkerson always says, if it was good 6 months ago, why is it not good now? And it cracks me up, but her point is so true. And I think it's maybe different personalities. If you've got kind of a structured personality, kind of back to Susan's point, it was good 6 months ago. It's still just as good today, but people forget. They forget why they start taking it. In going back and finding those people and saying, there was a reason why you first started taking Juice Plus. What was that reason and why did it change? Kind of back down to don't be afraid to go deep with people. How people are so our lives are so shallow anymore. I think when it comes to all the social media and stuff, people don't really connect like we used to. And how refreshing. I could see it on that lady's face at the bar as I was talking to her. It was almost like she lit up. And I swear it was because someone noticed her and connected with her. Even if it was as simple as talking about her bag, it was, you noticed. And so I don't know where I was going with, other than back to Susan's point, people forget why they first started taking Juice Plus. So let's remind them. Who do we need to remind this week? Who else? What point jumped out at you that you want to focus on this week?
I think for me, it's being passionate. I think sometimes it's so funny. I still get scared, like, here, you might want to check out Juice Plus. Here you go. But I think about like how Brenda shares, she's relentless, and how like Karen shares and she's like, this saved my life. And Trina's starting to share that way too. You know what I mean? Like, this saved my life. This saved my life. And I just need to get out of my comfort zone that way also, and just be be really excited, because it is exciting. I just need to get over myself.
And I think, Erin, people today are dealing with health issues they weren't dealing with 2 years ago. People, and not just health, but financial. People, for the most part, it amazes me. I mean, even total strangers, if you're standing in line somewhere, and I usually speak if we were there for a while, and people we're living in an uncertain world right now, more than at least in our lifetimes, I think we ever have. And they, just being able to say, I have an answer to your health. I have an answer to finances. I have a group of people that care about me. That's such a big deal. If we do have that, and I have to, I can go down each one of these lists and talk about each one of you and how, that connection is so important. And,
Yeah.
and each one of you, how personally you've been there for me. I'm sorry. But it's such a big deal, and we don't know what people have been through. And anyway, sorry.
We don't. Who else? What point?
Hey, oh, it's Shelly.
Hey, Shelly, look at
Sorry,
you.
well, I have limited time sometimes to get my workout in, but bouncing off what Erin said, when people have a real strong story about it saved their life, the thing I like to point out is it's probably saving mine, and I don't even know it yet.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm changing my DNA, I'm changing everything healthy about me, which is only going to benefit me in the future. And I like to tell people, if we can reduce our risk factors for whatever, in whatever way we can, this is another like health plan for me, right?
100%. That is an excellent point, Shelly. When I was listening to Eric Worre, I don't know if you guys ever listened to any of his podcasts, but he was talking about building a business, and he was like, he personally said, he was speaking to Beachbody people, and he said, I was there talking, and he goes, I knew I had 30, 40 pounds I needed to lose. And I thought, really, how can I challenge people to build and grow their business if I can't even get on track with my own personal health? And he said that thought really kicked it in for him to really start making a change with his own personal health. And, you know, as I was listening to that, I thought, isn't that the truth? When I'm on task with, and today, hopefully everybody's paying attention on Here's to Your Health. We're starting the shred today. Thank you, Brenda, for all you do. That is a labor of love. But I know personally, when I'm focused on doing the shred and following the lifestyle that I know I need to, I show up better with work, with my life in general. And I don't know how this applies to what what we're talking about, but that thought came to my mind as Shelley was sharing that. It is so true. We have no idea. And I actually was calling some of my customers for a while and just saying, what, you've been a customer for 15, 20 years now. What is it that keeps you going? And I remember Christy Sweat saying to me, well, I'm too afraid not to. I don't know what it's protecting me from, and I don't want to find out. And I love that answer. She's like, she started so young that she didn't have any health issues, but she's like, I'm afraid not to take it. And that's the passion, back to your point, Erin, that we want to get into our customers, that they see the potential of protection that Juice Plus has for them, that they never want to go off of it. All right, anybody else before we take some time to plan for the week? Anybody else? One of those particular areas just jumped out at you.
Well, I wanted to share, but I don't think Vanessa is where she can talk, but she says, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and strive to connect with 5 people per day. I always put off calling people, but I need to be more intentional. I'm like, go Vanessa.
I love it. Kudos. I didn't see Vanessa on here. I'm only seeing like 5 faces. Kudos to her. She just hit QSC, qualifying her business. And that was since last conference. I remember she made a decision, and boy, has she gone after it. So kudos to you, Vanessa, for all that you're doing, and kind of back to, let's get intentional with this 5 by 5 days a week, 6 if you want to be a what I want to call it, a super student, and 5 people a day, 5 people a day, 5 people. We all can do this. Let's literally, however you need to hold yourself accountable, let's connect with 5 people a day. Okay, so, and maybe, and at that top of 5 by 5, I want you to put, you know, number 4, number 7, whatever you need to do. I think for me, one of mine is going to be a number 4, to designate a day to get out of the house, and meet some new people. Let's take, so pick at least 2 of this 10 that you're going to hone in on. And I know I want to do 4. Let me hear, who else? What other ones are y'all picking from? I think I want to pick 4 and 5. I think those are the 2 I'm going to really hone in on. Who else? And we want to hear some stories next week. Who else? What ones are you going to focus in on?
I'm going to, like Erin said, I'm not nearly as passionate as I should be about it.
Okay.
And you know, I know some of my friends know that I do this, but not all of them. And I just need to get over that, whatever, of thinking, oh, you know, I don't know why I'm not as passionate. So I need to be more passionate about it and then get out of my comfort zone.
I love it. So 6 and 7.
Yeah.
All right. Who else? I just wrote 4 and 5 at the top of mine. And then I'm putting a big 5 by 5 on my notebook. We got to get back to the basics when it comes to just that connected. It doesn't have to be hard. That's a goal, every single person. Let's let's come back next Monday and let's literally do our little ticks across the top of our paper and let's see how many of us got 25 connections come next Monday. 25 connections, 5 by 5. Who else? What's jumping out at you, 1 through 10? Let me scroll down and see who else is on here. All right, who else? I can stare. Do I have people on here, but they've walked away from their phone? Who's on here? Jelaine, I can see you. Let's hear. What ones resonated with you?
Well, I would say that I probably need to ask more questions. You know, that
Okay.
would be one. Because I see that that really does do well if I can just be quiet long enough, you know, and really ask the questions and listen. And then the other one is I would say, get way out of my comfort zone.
So 2 and 6. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So I can't wait to hear next week what questions you got asking and what you did to get out of your comfort zone. All right, Jeff, I see you on here. Are you able to talk? I know he's at work. If you are, let's hear what yours two are. Or I'm seeing Lindsay's phone. Lindsay, can you share? Or Allison? Or Brenda?
Elaine,
Yes.
Jeff said can't talk, but I'm stuck in a rut. Number 5, actually 6.
5 and 6. Okay. So Jeff, no, I'm 4 and 5. Jeff is 5 and 6. Okay.
I think he's 6. And 6 is really number 6 is really mine now, because that's exactly what my issue is. It's being
I love it. Who
getting out-
else? Who else? Lindsay, can you share, or Allison or Sandy Thompson? What's your two?
Well, I'm thinking about getting way out of my comfort zone. And I think Stacia and I are doing that. So far, we have done 3 videos. The last one being on just Juice Plus, the products and sharing the products. And before, it was mostly invitations, inviting to stories of hope or, something like that. But I said, the real heart of this is sharing the product and let the people see just how few products we actually have. And so we started with the Tower Garden, which is usually one of those bang moments. But anyway, and I remember stating at the end of the video, we only want to get better. And that's the way I look at Juice Plus. It has, yes, saved our lives. I know it has. And I want to get better. As I'm aging, I want to be able to get better. And so we're working on those kinds of things. And I think probably the other eclectic connections, I have a lot of those, but unfortunately, a lot of the people that I'm connecting with, they can't afford. Like they don't have insurance right now. I'm thinking of one lady in particular. She broke her foot and her insurance wouldn't allow one of those little scooter things that she could put her knee on. And so when people are struggling financially, it's hard to commit to another outsource of income. So that's, we're weaving through all of this, I think, all the time.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So hers were 5 and 6. Thank you, Sandy. All right. Anybody else want to share theirs before we roll up our sleeves and we get our 25 names down? Anybody else? All right. Woo, we got a lot more people on here since the last moment. Okay. So sorry, I'm seeing some people I didn't see. I was only seeing a limited number. All right. So let's literally take our time right now and let's get those 25 names. If we have those 25 names done today, then we've got all week to be able to connect. I'd love to see everyone on here next week with their list saying, check, I did it, 15 check or 25 check marks or little sticks with the line through it, whatever you like, however you like to track it. There's 16 of us on here today. What if we all connected with 25 people? That's a lot of people that are going to hear about Juice Plus. So let's just take some time and start getting those names down. And as you write the name down, I want you to think about those 10 things of is there anything that I want to focus on when I reach out to that person, how I reach out to them, what I say, what questions I ask, how am I approaching it with passion? Think about what you need to associate when connecting with that person. All right, as my
Let's-
friend Katie says, giddy up.
Was it here, Elaine, that I heard that, or someone else in my training, is that right now the best way to connect with people would be to actually give them a voice text so that they actually hear your words and your passion. Was that here, or is that another training that I had?
No, I think you're thinking Stacy Whitmere. That's what she did.
Oh,
So-
okay. Yeah, I know. I mean, I have so much, I try to train my brain, and I was like, so that's just a really great way, we send emails, we send texts, we do private messengers, but I feel like my friends respond better when they get that voice text from me, because then they respond because they hear my passion and they hear that I care. They've actually heard my voice. So, and they do pick that up. So, just something to give you, in your connections this week to remember.
Thank you. Great tip, Jelaine.